This is Dane Anthony TV. I'm here to review Don't Breathe, Part 1. Directed by Fede Alvarez, who directed the Evil Dead movies. It starts off in the car with two friends from Detroit. They're both talking about to each other getting money. One of them name is Roxanne, played by Jane Levy, a Detroit thief. They both want to escape to California. The other one is Alex, played by Dillian Medit. And the other two was Money, and Rock. So wanted to move to California with her younger sister Diddy. They both were too young. They both were young, and they both wanted to get a new experience. So they made a living in breaking into people's houses and stealing valuables. But they turned for the worse. They actually stole at the wrong house. So they decided to go to an old trauma veteran's house in an abandoned neighborhood. They made a huge mistake because this dude is crazy. However, to the trio's frustration, their fence keeps unveiling the items they bring. Money she's a tip from the fence, and the Gulf War veteran Norman Nordstrom has a $300K in cash in his house in an abandoned Detroit neighborhood. They get into the house. The dude senses something, so he boards up the windows and put locks on the door, and they start to move around. Alex found the master bedroom where the old dude kept the money. It was in chest with a combo lock. They watched him do the combo lock when he went in there, and then when he left, they came in and remembered it, and then they went in and did it. So then Rocky stayed in the closet until he did it. So when they left the room, in the bathroom, he raced up to the door, admitted to open the lock and took the money, and then he made a loud sound. The old man heard it, so he races up to the and opens the chest, and he noticed that it was missing. So then he went haywire. He picked up his gun and shot everywhere. Then Alex and Roxy ran downstairs to the basement, and they walked towards the back. The old man raced down the step, and they resumed shooting everywhere, and they shot the light out in the room, so the whole basement was blackout. So it basically was very black. It looked almost like the Blair Witch. Crazy. Rocky was super nervous, and she was shaking. And Alex planned of attack by hiding behind the shelf, and he took out his hook and swung left to right. And the old man walked close to the shelf, and he sensed Alex and grabbed him by the throat and then almost pulled him through the shelf. They shook him off. He shook him off and ran upstairs and ran. Alex went to the room and then put a shelf in front of the door, and actually saw someone on the floor. So she shot out. Alex got scared in the room and tried to go to the window, but it was all boarded up, so he couldn't go there. So the old man came upstairs, broke through the door, and grabbed the dude and held him to the floor, and then they exchanged back and forth. And he took a large scissors, Jason style, and stabbed him in the chest. The old man walked away. Meanwhile, Rocky took took the keys and tried to test all the locks in the front door, where she found a woman shackled, strapped around in the garage area with body and tape. The old man's a creep. She was young, and she was discovered to be his daughter, and he wanted her to breathe. He heard a noise, and he gets to the gun, and it shoots, and she moves, and she shoots his daughter, and she's dead. So she senses her, and he grabs her and puts in the straps and tapes through her mouth. Rocky was upset and stood helpless. Meanwhile, Alex still in the room, laying helpless, and the camera shook up and down off his coat and the scissors. So that means that he was alive, and he looked like he sees Roxy as she comes, and she crawled in the vent in the wall. The old man runs in, holds his gun, rushes into the windows, and Alex falls through, and he hits a greenhouse-like window, and the glass looked like it was broken. He lays there, unconscious. Meanwhile, Rocky crawls through the vent, and then the dog in the other room wakes up and then runs all up to the shelf, goes up the stairs, runs up the shelf, and runs through the door and goes to the vent, and it crawls all the way to where Rocky is at. And then she got scared, and she fell through onto the room below, and then And then she grabbed her and out in the vents and takes out the garage room house. He puts on his shackles and strapped her upside down. He took his knife and cut her spandex in the coochie area, and it looks like he was about to rape her. A very scary moment. And she looks like a nearby table, and he grabbed his juice, pause, trying to shoot it in her. Luckily, Alex comes in with the hammer and knocked her out, and she grabbed the key, and it runs away in the house, and she sees the car with the guard dog all outside, and then the dog tried to get into both windows. She rolled up one at a time, and then she tried to trap the dog, so she opened the trunk and then waited till he comes in and then closed it, and then she got him. He closed the trunk, and then he's fighting. The dog fights until it breaks through the back of the car seat, and then it actually is in the back car seat now. So then she's trying to fight it off. So she opens the door, runs out, grabs the bag, and then as soon as she grabs the bag, the old man knocks her down, and grabs her and dragged her all the way back to the house. So and then what happened is that then the guy comes in. Alex comes. They took out the keys. They found the front door, and they ran away. I thought it was a great thriller horror film. I give it a 7 out of 5 or 8 out of 10. It's pretty original. It doesn't feature any supernatural or any typical jump scares. It's more of a putting stress on others, but played on fear and hysteria. Thank you.